about how he's building a Caribbean investment firm from the ground up, all while being very strategic and sticking to his 15-year plan that he has in place. You don't want to miss this. This is Legacy Talk, where someone's story can become your blueprint. I'm going to ask you guys one favor before we start this episode. Like, if you are not subscribed to the show, or if you are not following the show, if you could do so kindly, I would really, really appreciate this. And at the end of the show, please share this with someone as an inspiration, just to let them know that you're thinking about them as well. So let's get into it. Hello, David Mullings. Welcome to the show. I was telling you earlier that it's just amazing when I meet another fellow Jamaican who's also in the fund space, because it's rare. It is like very rare. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I would say, that I'm not necessarily in the fund space. I'm in the investment
Investment.
space.
The perfect way how to put it. But no, what you are doing is amazing. And even like what you're doing in the Caribbean in general. A lot of people tend to stay away from it because they're like, oh, that's just my country or whatever it is. That's it. I'm going to go to the land of
Yeah.
opportunities and just do my thing. I'm kind of like that person. So looking forward to hear a lot more about just a little bit more background in terms of how did you get into the space and stuff like that. But before we do, I want to know, like, the fact that you grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, and between Kingston and Florida, like with the back and forth, right? What did it like teach you about the early opportunity and access from just growing up in the Caribbean and the US as well?
Oh, I like that question. So, when you grow up in the Caribbean, or I don't think it's unique to the Caribbean, but when you grow up in a developing country or an
Yeah.
emerging market, I feel like we suffer from a few things. But one of them in particular is something that I've heard actually is in Australia and elsewhere. But we talk about the fact that the nail that sticks out gets hammered. So we're
Mm,
told to conform. You
yeah.
shouldn't stand out. You shouldn't try too many things. You should put your head down, study a book, go to
Yes.
school, graduate, get a job, and then get
Yes.
a career. Play it safe. And in the United States, that's not what we're taught. Right?
Yeah.
This is a land of opportunity, and we're told you should try. Failing is not a bad thing. You can
Yeah.
fail multiple times. We celebrate entrepreneurs. I never forgot a friend of mine who worked with me at Jamaican-American. She said it was fascinating growing up in St. Mary. Her parents, the school teachers, always
Mhm.
would push you to go into some sort of career. But the children who ended up doing the biggest stuff are the ones who went into business. And we thought the dunce kids went
That's
into business, the
yes.
smart kids went to medical school and went off to go and be lawyers and engineers.
Hmm.
And spending so much time in the US helped to reorient my thinking to realize that this is not the right way. You should actually leverage what you see, learn from successes, and support what the child wants to do.
Yeah.
Stop telling children that they have to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, a teacher, get a career, and then get a pension later on. Support them. If they want to be a musician, go and support them being that violinist. If they
Yeah.
want to go and play football, support them in playing football, or a
Mhm.
filmmaker. Support them. Lean into what they're doing.
Yeah. And I think to like even like parent like how I grew up, my mom and it's just seeing other Jamaican parents is always like, hey, this is the thing to do. And even now with my brother, I try to break that whole pattern of, hey, this is, you have to go to college, you have to study this. And I was like, no, but then it's also that battle as well with the parent and contradicting stuff. Like, do you get any backlash for that as well?
Yeah. So I never had that problem. I
Yeah.
realize my parents are unique. The more I speak to people, my
Hmm.
parents, when I was 15, finished high school, fifth form in Jamaica. And mom and dad asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I
Yeah.
want to be a positive role model for young people around the world, especially young males in Jamaica. And
Hmm.
dad says, oh man, that's not the answer we expected. But we raised you. That means you have a
Yeah.
plan. What's the plan? And I went
Mhm.
through that plan and the four options. And they said, well, the last two options, those aren't mutually exclusive. We will support you in both of them. Who is your role model? And then I said, Richard Branson. And so this is a doctor who
Yeah.
lectures at university and a nurse saying, we will support you in your journey for football, to become a professional footballer, and your journey to become a successful entrepreneur who is then going to make enough money to fund the music and films that change the way the world sees Jamaica and the way
Yeah.
Jamaicans see themselves. And then she gives me these books, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Eventually, Losing My Virginity comes out, Richard Branson's autobiography. And so mom buys me that as well, and I read that. So my parents have always been supportive. Yes, get a degree, but go and try
Yeah.
and do this stuff. So I started college at 15, I finished at 19, and mom said, no more school. Go and play football. Do you want to go to your cousins in the UK or you want to go back to Jamaica? So I went back to Jamaica December 2000 to try and play with the under 20 team for Real Mona. I made that team in January 2021. The senior team that was playing in the second division pulled me to play there as well. And that was the start of me playing football. And that's what I did. My days were training and then playing games on Thursdays with under 20, Saturdays with the professional team. I eventually did go and do an MBA. Let's say it's only 2 years, you'll still be young. When you graduate, 22, you can still play ball. So my parents have always been supportive. I've never gotten pushback.
But at 15, to be reading Think and Grow Rich, like I read that book and it can be boring because it's long, but it has so much value in there. Reading that book at 15, like you could be playing game or something. You're
No,
reading
I
Think
was
and
playing
Grow
the
Rich.
game. I was playing my video games and reading. That's the difference, right? I do both.
Wow.
To me, it has never been an either or. I still play video games. I have a Twitch
Yeah.
channel, I have a YouTube gaming channel where I put up clips. I still play football. So I play sports. I read. I play video games. I make time for what matters, and that matters to me. Especially I love games like Zelda, where I have to do puzzle solving, strategies involved. That's what I do in my life every day in business as well. So it's
Wow.
great. But yeah, mom and dad, I was 8 years old when dad clipped a lavalier mic to myself and my brother
Mhm.
Robert and started having us read Martin Luther King speeches and Michael Manley speeches and the Bible, and then recording it and playing it back for us so we could hear ourselves and practice public speaking. So this is, to me, it's not unusual that my
Oh,
parents would be giving me those kinds of books. I'm studying
yeah.
Lee Kuan Yew and what he did for Singapore and transform that country for his people. They raised me to do this, to be honest.
Wow. So that is really, really impressive because like that's not the norm for a lot of persons. So that's why I'm like at 15 reading that book and even as you said, reading documentaries and all those things with Martin Luther King. That's impressive. You mentioned like the same with your brother too. I know you guys did a whole venture in the music space as well. Like what did that first venture how did that help you in what you're building today too? Because that is like
It was so important. So Real Vibes was focused on Caribbean entertainment. We wanted
Mhm.
to build an online MTV for the Caribbean. That was literally it. So we launched February 1st, 2002. And it taught us the levers that it can pull to
Mhm.
actually scale a business, right? We were
Yeah.
in our MBA program at the same time. So an MBA teaches you how to manage an existing business, not how to start a business, not how to
Mhm.
go from 0 to 500. It's telling you how you can go from 500 to 500,000. So
Yeah.
we're able to take certain things, like in my marketing classes, we want to know the 5 Ps, and we can apply that to who's our target market, right? The product, place, price, promotion, and so on. So that helped us. But more importantly, we got to learn by doing. How do you pitch an investor? What
Mhm.
questions do investors
Yeah.
ask? What systems and processes are required for you to scale? How do you negotiate a deal? So we negotiated with YouTube to become their first Caribbean media partner in 2008. And that taught me a lot, that this is a massive
Awesome.
company.
Yeah.
But it also taught us that not everybody wishes you well. And that is
Mm.
great. We had to learn to have thick skin. There are people who didn't think we could do it. And then even when we announced the YouTube deal, somebody actually messaged the Jamaica Gleaner to say it's not true. We have a written release from YouTube with YouTube's contact information that they put out with us, and somebody said in the newspaper that is not true. And I couldn't believe that a fellow black person would try to pull me down when they don't even know what they're talking about. So it was fascinating. It was a great lesson to learn. And not everybody is going to be on your side, but you need to
Oh,
shine anyway. Don't dim the light for people.
yeah.
Don't have thin skin. And you don't
Mm.
have to correct everybody.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. As long as you know what you're doing is ethical and it's
Hmm.
true, keep moving forward. But it also
Oh,
allowed us to connect with a close friend of mine, Richard Powell Jr. Richie was in the private equity space. He had done a tech startup before, was in Harvard, took time off, moved to Silicon Valley, cover of Inc. magazine before 20 years old as a Jamaican, and then exited that business, launched a private equity firm. And we asked him to join as our chairman, and he wrote a check. He invested in Blue Mahoe. Not in Blue Mahoe, well, he's an investor in Blue Mahoe, no, but he invested in real investment then. But what he said to me, you have a 99% chance of failing at a startup. Don't worry about that. You're going to learn these lessons. I needed to learn private equity. You have a better chance of buying a profitable existing business domiciled in a strong long-term growth industry. That you understand. So you're going to learn investing in private equity. I will write this check for 25K on one condition. You are going to study Warren Buffett, and every book that my mentors gave me, you're going to read them and discuss with me. We're going to read every single letter to shareholders Warren Buffett has written since the 1960s, and we're going to discuss them. And every 3 months, I had to fly to Orlando to sit with him and meet, and then I got to follow all his deals. Here's the deal we're looking at. Here's the due diligence. Here's a term sheet. Here's how we raised the money. Here's how the deal went after we bought the company. And I got an inside the private equity side of things. And now I switch from Richard Branson as a role model to Warren Buffett as a role model. So that is how we transition from this entertainment business to the investment space.
Wow, that was gonna be my next question, because like entertainment and then switching to the investment side of it, like that could, I feel like everything was in alignment.
All in alignment. And
All in
ultimately, so Steve Jobs has a quote that I actually disagree with. I disagree with half of it. So he says, rightfully, that you cannot connect the dots looking forward. But then he goes on to say that you can only hope that the dots connect with your future, right? You need to focus on what you want to do. I disagree with that second part. You can connect the dots looking backwards. If I do what I call four-dimensional thinking, so if I think, here's where I want to be my life in 50 years, I want to be a highly paid brain surgeon at a nice hospital, and I can find a highly paid brain surgeon at a hospital and study their journey. What did they do before they became a highly paid brain surgeon at that hospital? Well, they probably were a low-paid surgeon somewhere else. Before that, they had to go and actually specialize. Before that, they had to actually do their, your clinical time period, your residency. And before that, you had to actually graduate from medical school, which means you had to take the MCAT to get into medical school, which means you probably studied biology, anatomy, and so on in undergrad, which means you were doing that before. Those are all dots. Those are steps.
Yeah.
That's a recipe that you can follow. You then figure out where along that line are you. Oh, I'm here. This is what I need to do next. You don't have to ask somebody else what to do. Find one person who is doing or has lived the life that you want to live. And then they're now your role model.
Yeah.
That is their recipe to follow. And you don't change the recipe. You can't change the recipe until you exceed that role model.
Yeah.
So Warren Buffett, as an investor, became my role model for my investment life. I get to invest in what I want to invest in, because I have a framework to follow. And I don't have to just jump and helter-skelter. And I don't have to ask anybody for advice. What would Warren Buffett do? What did Warren Buffett do? So I'm building a Berkshire Hathaway for the Caribbean and then eventually the Global South. Not that complicated.
No, because like when you break it down like that, you're backward, something backward engineering, everything else. Reverse engineering.
But we don't do that enough for other parts.
No,
you
don't.
For lawyer, for engineer, for doctor, for teacher. We don't do that for the other parts of our life. If you want to be a successful TV show host, you might study Oprah Winfrey. You want to be a successful actor, you might go and study Tom Cruise. But that you want to be a successful football player who takes amazing free kicks, you go study Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. It's actually not that complicated when it's
the way how you break it down like that, it makes so much more sense. And we're in an era now where the information is out there.
Actually, we have so much information, people refuse to pay attention to it. There's so much they don't search, they just ask questions in public, as if Google isn't free. Google is free. Why wouldn't you go and search?
Why wouldn't you go search? Or just a simple outreach on social media too. Like you can connect with a person.
You can. What's the worst that can happen? You send me the DM and I don't respond. Your life don't change. I do respond. Your life might change. So why wouldn't you reach out to the person?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just
People
like
are
just a
more
simple
accessible.
reach out to you.
They reach out to me, exactly. People are more accessible today than ever before. You are fortunate to be born in this era. It's as
Mhm.
simple as that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So even when you started, so I know like when you started your firm, you started with $15,000 that you raised from friends and family,
Yeah,
right?
this one, yeah. We started a previous firm before that failed. This
Oh,
one is not the first investment firm that I founded. This is a second firm, Blue Mahoe Capital, but this is a fourth version of Blue
okay.
Mahoe Capital too.
So when the talk to me about the first one that failed, why did it fail? And like what measures or things did you put in place to ensure the second time it
I
did?
love that because that made me think about it when I was in the hospital. So while I was working with with Richie Powell with his firm, so he had AP Capital Partners. They had done the largest deal in the Southeast back in the mid 2000s. They had bought a company for 15 million. They sold it less than 7 years later for 200 million. This is a black-owned PE firm. So they do this deal, do really well. He creates RMP group to the smaller deals and brings me in as part of that. A year
Mm-hmm.
and a half into it, he had said, okay, great. I was going to have you for 2 years working on these deals. Then I would fund you for your own firm. Well, a year and a half in, I like what's happening. What would you do with $100,000? This is on Wednesday. I said, let me talk to my brother, Robert. Robert and I did our MBA together at the same time. He's a year younger than me, but he did management and management information systems. I specialize in marketing and international business. So we sit down over the weekend. I come back to Richie on Monday in his office and I say, hey, here's what I would do with the 100K. I want to build a US based investment firm that's going to raise money from the Caribbean to the lower middle market private equity deals in the US and take that vehicle public at the Jamaica Stock Exchange to give Caribbean investors access to private companies in the US for the first time. We don't have anything like that listed. I'll build a Berkshire Hathaway in the Caribbean to give them access here.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he wires me $50,000 to start. I says, hey, here's the first 50K, work for yourself, stay in this office. Don't want you going to spend money with another office. And this is in Orlando. Make sure you bring your brother in to work with you as a partner. We build a board of 5, me, him, 3 other people on that board. And then let's identify a business to buy. So that's what we did. Hunting. We wanted to buy a mobile app development firm because we had just built an app for Real Vibes 2 years ago. So we understood that space. Let's buy the company that builds mobile apps for clients. Now, we had to just go and code it ourselves. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we understand this, but let's do that. So we looked at 2 companies, and he ended up investing 100K. Well, he did 75K. His brother Joseph Powell did 25K, and then one of their friends did another 25. So we raised 125K for us to get it moving. Started looking for deals, and then ended up raising money from friends and family between the U.S., Jamaica,
Okay.
and Barbados. Yeah, so that's how we raised 770,000 US to make a purchase. The lessons from it, though, really were one, I had structured it, even though as the largest shareholder, I
Mm-hmm.
structured it so the board had to sign off on any deal and vote on it,
Mm.
and it had to be majority sign off. We
Yeah.
said here's a minimum for us to look at the business, minimum revenue, minimum margins for us to go and buy this business, and then minimum net income. Right, revenue is one thing, net income actually is really what matters. I don't like EBITDA, even
Yeah.
though I came from the private. Right, Warren Buffett says EBITDA is bullshit earnings. That's very true.
Yeah.
So we had these standards set. It was taking long to finally get a deal. We have a deal. These guys want to sell by December. We can't close in December for that larger business, but ever smaller one. I don't want to do this business. Some of the team freaks out. Oh, we're running out of cash. It's taking too long. We need to buy something. The board votes. Richie and I, the only 2 with the private equity experience, say, no, we're not buying this. It don't work. The other 3 people vote against us and force us to buy the business. So we get the check, send off the 200 and something thousand to initiate after doing due diligence. We buy it and then announce the deal. And 6 months later, a former client sues us. And we're like, well, you don't show up as a client. You've never been on the client list. We did due diligence. The CEO is still there. We bought 30% of the CEO's stake. He's still the CEO of the business. And it turns out that he had deleted every single email and correspondence with that company. And we had to go into the server to find the logs. And so then we have to sue him. But they're now saying we've spent 200 and something thousand US dollars to build this app. You guys never
Yeah.
deliver anything. We want the code, we want this. I was like, but you're not. Wow. So that was a massive blow up on us. So even though you're doing the due diligence, they can
Yeah.
still hide some things. We didn't have any indemnity insurance. So we had to shut down that business, lose the 770,000 US dollars and figure out what would be next. We then signed a deal with someone in Jamaica to do a fund of hedge funds. We have all these relationships now. I say, hey, we're going to create. So this was Keystone Augusta was the name of the firm. We
So
then
what does funds of hedge fund mean?
so fund of funds, as you know,
Okay,
means
yeah.
that you are one fund that gives people access to multiple funds. So we're
Mm-hmm.
going to have a portfolio of other people's funds. So your fund is going to do long short trading on US equities. We could put some money there. Yours is going to be real estate in the US. We could put some money there. Yours is going to be global equities or emerging market. We could put some money there. So we
Yeah.
wanted to create one fund. You put the money in there and it gave you essentially a modern portfolio. So we could
Got it.
put into multiple. So we don't run the funds and the underlying investments. We need to evaluate the managers. We evaluate fund managers, not the underlying investments. So we wanted to create that. Once again, give people in the Caribbean access.
So
So we
it, yeah.
signed a joint venture with someone to create Keystone Augusta Capital Partners.
Partners.
Going to do the JV. They said they'll put in $50,000 for the expenses. Hey, we're going to do that. You're going to be able to pay the expenses, pay your little salary, little bit of salary, you and your brother. You're going to get a little office and you're going to pay for the setup. This is a Cayman offshore vehicle, an onshore vehicle in the US, and then we will put 1.5 million US into there as the first AUM. But they have to pick the funds that we invest in. So we spend the next 6 months evaluating these funds. They pick one. And then they come back and say, oh, you know what? We change our mind. We're not going to do this again. Not your fault, nothing to do with you. We just lost more than $600,000 in some other joint venture deal. And when I looked at it, the only time in my life that I've lost money is when I've given somebody else money to manage for me. So I just don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, what? Yo, we just got so ready. Our reputation is on the line with these funds that you now have told us to commit to that. Who picked them? Wow, what are going to know? And I said, well, what about the $50,000? You gave us some money to go and spend. We spent it. This is not money for me to manage as an investment. It's startup capital. No, just 50K, no problem, don't worry. And I said, well, I'm willing to give you shares in whatever else I do if I launch another business. I said, no, man, it's fine. Okay. So 2 lessons from that. From the first Keystone Augusta is that do not give non-financial people, non-investment professionals oversight over what you invest in. They cannot control their emotions.
Yes.
I'm a Warren Buffett guy. Here's a framework. Here's what we're going to buy. It cannot be less than this because we don't want to buy a job. I literally was told by one of those board members, I'd rather we buy a job and then work on growing it than don't get a deal done. So they were scrambling to get a deal done rather than doing the right deal.
Right thing, yeah.
First one. So I don't let anybody tell me what I get to invest in. We don't have an investment committee. We don't have a board. Here's the rules that we follow. And we stick to the rules, and the board holds me to account to stick to the rules.
Stick to it, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But if you don't understand that stuff, if you can't read some Warren Buffett books or quote Buffett's investment strategy, you can't be on my board and you can't tell me how to invest.
Yeah.
I know more about Buffett than you. That don't work. So that's the first lesson. Second lesson is that I have to be willing to walk away from it. My name matters more. Just because I founded Keystone, I should not stay in there and make anybody force me to do it. It was bad. I should have walked away. As my dad said, though, I was a majority shareholder. I could have fired the entire board.
Yes.
And I didn't do it because I was worried about the relationship afterwards. Guess what? The thing blew up in my face. And it's me get the phone calls from the investors, not them.
Yes. Yeah.
The phone call is me for the rest of my life. I have to answer what happened and then follow up from that. And that follows me. With Keystone Augusta Capital Partners, a fund of funds, I gave someone else control over what would happen. Everything is in writing, but you know what this person then goes and do? They go in Jamaica and they're busy telling people how they invested $50,000 in Blue Mahoe, gave me money to invest on their behalf, and I've never returned the money to them. So make sure you have things in writing. Even when people claim to be upstanding and have good values and be ethical, it's not always true. And then there are other people who then run around with the story without ever asking me my side of the story. I say, you know what is good? No one know how you stay. You're a gossiper. You could have come to me and asked my side of the story, and I could give you the documentation. But so that's another lesson, right? A very important lesson. People would rather run with news than confirm first. The people who are willing to gossip and not speak to you are actually not your friends. And a lot of people don't want to see you succeed. Especially Black people.
Listen, I've experienced that moving to the US. Yeah, like it's moving to the US is when I first experienced something like that. One. And two, like I've learned, like when I was going through the paperwork with the attorney, they're like, hey, like don't make sure if you have a board, they're just there to advise. You
Yeah, yeah.
want to remember that you are the expert in this thing. You've done it. You have your criteria. They're just there as a guide.
Yeah,
That is
capital
it.
governance.
Oh, listen.
Yeah, man.
Oh
So
my God.
yeah. So this is a fourth version of Blue Mahoe because we brought in partners, had to get rid of partners, tried to steal the first company from me. I mean, we've had all of that. But I think I can do it just as good as you. But you
Go
never
ahead.
worked in private equity. All you did was write me a check. Right? You lay out what the vision is, you lay out how long it's going to take, you be very clear about what the capital is going to be used for, and then some people just, man, it's taking too long, I want back my money.
Mm-hmm.
If you invested in Airbnb or Facebook or Amazon, you can't just get back your money. You invested in a startup, you sign a document saying I
Sign it.
understand the risk. You convince me you want to be part of this whole thing, whether as an investor or
A partner.
joining the team. But
Yes.
then when it takes too long, in your opinion, then it's a problem. And then you
Yeah.
make me out to be a villain. And I was like, no, here's the paperwork, here's what's happening. If you want to poke holes in the boat, we're going to throw you overboard. Right? There are
But
lots
the,
of people, if they can't be captain of your ship or co-captain of your ship,
ooh,
they would rather sink the ship. There are people like that, and you have to be very, very
careful.
careful. And if they are poking holes in the ship and they cause a mutiny with the team, it's better to leave and build a new ship.
Hmm. But I'm gonna assume that with all of that now, like have strict criteria with selecting partners,
Oh yeah.
investors.
That's why I have no co-founder for Blue Mahoe Holdings or Blue Mahoe Capital.
I
There
don't
is
blame
no
you.
co-founder. That's why I'm the largest shareholder. That is why I'm
Yeah.
the chairman. I will eventually not have complete voting control, and that's fine because I
Mhm.
have to earn my keep with the investors who have put in there. I need to keep earning my keep every single year. I need to
Yeah.
prove that I deserve to be here. But at the start, it is my way because I am
Hmm.
the one who has read every single letter the shareholders at Buffett has written. I'm the one that studied Michael Leachin and Howard Marks and Steve Schwarzman and studied Blackstone and BlackRock and Goldman Sachs and Charles Schwab. Don't tell me how to execute this.
Hmm.
I am the one who's laid out the plan and studied the most. I've read more books than every single person I know when it comes to business, to entrepreneurship, to pitching, marketing. So why would I then have you come and take that role? I need it for this role. It's a football team I build it. Here's my job. I manage a team and happen to play as a striker to score goals. That's how I play in real life. Somebody else needs to be in midfield who is going to provide the service to help me score, right? That's where sales can come in, marketing,
Yeah.
and all. But then you have your defense to protect the castle
Mhm.
that we're building, and we want a moat. So we have a moat, and
Mhm.
they're on the other side to protect it. And then you need that goalkeeper who is the ultimate level of protection, and that's where you have your CFO, for example, and your general counsel, the legal side, to protect what you're building. So you need to find the right people and then get them in the right seats. Right, this is a bus. I
Oh
prefer
yeah.
both, but you need the right people in the right seats. You don't always know which seat the person is going to be in, but you know what the right people are. Looking at
Mm.
temperament, we're looking at emotional intelligence, right? EQ.
Yeah.
We want to look
Yeah.
at skills. We want to look at how they deal with conflict resolution, how well they work with other people, how big they think,
Think.
right?
Yeah.
Are they willing to get down and get their hands dirty in a startup? Are they more for when you get to that growth phase or when you are at the mature phase? So those things matter. And this is what comes from, built to last and good to great. That's where they talk.
Yes, because
Jim Collins
even
talks
built to
about
last.
it.
That
Yeah.
was a pretty good book, and listening to you, like it's like my follow up question too, because I know you did a whole 15-year plan, and I was like,
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
on,
So
like
15 year from 15 to 30, knowing what I do after 50. And then whoever I marry would help me write the 20-year plan from 20 to 50. So I knew what I would do after 50 and then wrote the initial plan. And then whoever I get married to would then help me with the 30 to 50. They could not change after 50 and they can't change 15 to 30.
wh- hold on, because even with that too, okay, here's the thing. We're in an era, even like 5 years ago, you have this plan, right? How do you, with shiny object syndrome and this new opportunity and AI, just make sure that you stay on track?
Well, first of all, if you have the plan and you stick to the plan, you will stay on track. I avoid signing object syndrome. There's no SOS for me. There's no FOMO for me. I don't care. I know what my life needs to look like by age 50 for me to accomplish what I want to accomplish before I die. So I simply start with one question. Does this help me achieve my goals after 50 or not? If it
So
does,
I come to
then
you and I was like, David, I have this great opportunity, and you're like,
I don't care. Is it something that fits into what Blue Mahoe is trying to do on my life?
mm-hmm.
If not, right? I just had somebody message me today on LinkedIn. Of course, we're getting so much press. All these people are messaging me, hey, I want to talk to you about this business idea that I have.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this business I have in Jamaica or in Bahamas. And then I'll just say, well, is it about fundraising to qualify Blue Mahoe Capital to go public on NASDAQ? Is it going to help me take Blue Mahoe public on NASDAQ, or is it helping me to build the 4 housing developments that we've agreed to fund? If it's
Yeah.
not one of those 3 things, then it's a distraction. If you would like to talk about investing in Blue Mahoe Capital, then I will make time. That's it.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
be very narrowly focused, put on blinders, because what happens inevitably is that people see you get all this press. They think you're successful. They think you have access to money. They know you have access to people with
Mm-hmm.
money. They now want your time. They want
And the
your
access.
reputation. They want your money.
Mm-hmm.
But their stuff, they have zero interest in helping you to solve your problem.
Yeah.
And that's a taker,
Yeah.
not a giver. What you need to do is reach out first, like what I did with Michael Leach, and say, can I help you with something?
Mm-hmm.
What problems are you facing and how can I help you? And then I go and help that person.
Yeah.
Then one day I may ask them for help with something, but you first have to give. You have to give. I have to give without expecting to receive. But the more you give, I guarantee the universe is going to multiply that and give it back to you tenfold, 50-fold, 100-fold. And
Yeah.
that's how I stay grounded. I know the plan I need to follow. Why would you show me something that's not Warren Buffett related?
Do you go back and be like, do a like evaluation to be like, am I on track? How if I'm off,
Yes.
how
So,
far
so
off
I,
am
I
I?
have a life plan that's written,
Yeah.
and it breaks it down into, I won't ever send it to you because you would laugh, but this is extremely, the very few people I've shared it with, including my wife. Every birthday I look over it. I'm born in January, so every early January I go over that plan to see, am I on target? And it's based on 5 years. So here's a window 2015 to 2020, 2020 to 2025, right? That kind of, because I'm 45. So I turned 45 this year, 2026. So I now have a plan. I looked at the plan from 40 to 45, 41 really to 45. Okay, what did I accomplish? What did I not accomplish? Why didn't I accomplish these things? So there was a list of 53 things that I wanted to get done. This is including get featured in Black Enterprise, get a Bloomberg TV interview. All of that was in there. I accomplished 3/4 of them, and then there were a few I didn't accomplish. So now I need to move them into 45 to 50. I needed to get it done in a 20-year span. I only have less than a quarter left. Why didn't I get those accomplished? Was it because I picked the wrong person to try and help me? Was I afraid of what people were going to say? Did I not have enough money? Well, why didn't I have enough money to go and do it? Did I try and fail? Why did I fail? And then you move forward, right? You have to do a post-mortem. Then you're going to iterate and come back. So yeah, I do that every single year to make sure am I on track. And this includes relationship. So as a husband, or if it don't work, where am I on the relationship path? Well, here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I expect. Is this happening? Is it not happening? How do I address that? Right? As a father, am I doing what I need to do as a father? As a leader, trying to help other people, am I doing these things? Right? I got through in detail. As a business owner, as a speaker, all of that, and I'm tracking that every single year.
Listen, I love that because, and I would definitely love to see that because I've done it and someone told me that I'm crazy. I track every aspect of my life and I'm like, even now, because we're mid-year, I'm like going through and checking.
You have to be intentional about the life you want to build. I'm not here to just let life happen. I don't believe in that foolishness. That's not me. I'm not some carefree spirit and then something just happened to me. No, I'm intentional about who I want to meet, what I want to do, who I want to inspire. That matter. That's how I approach it. So nothing happens by accident. I was in the room and I was prepared. A whole bunch of people have been in the same rooms as me. They are not where I am today because they didn't put in the work. They weren't prepared, right? Oprah Winfrey says, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So be prepared. I had to train for my football matches. I had to train for my swim meets. The training part is what most people skip, but they want the gold medal.
Yes. Ooh.
So if I want a gold medal in swimming, I need to study a swimmer that's gotten a gold medal. Then I need to get a coach to help me. Right? Notice I said
Mhm.
coach, not a
Coach.
mentor,
Yeah.
not a teacher. I need a coach
Hmm.
to help me become better and then execute. After I prove I deserve this stuff, then I'll get a sponsor. So Michael Leachin went from being a mentor, someone I don't know, and I study him, just like Warren
Hmm.
Buffett, to then being a teacher, someone I do know, and I get to speak with him, to then being a coach. Let me really hold your hand and help correct things. Then
Okay.
he became a sponsor. Let me put you on. Let me open a door. Let me do this. Let me do that. So you want to move from mentor to teacher, coach, sponsor, and then you execute, and then you help somebody else
Oh,
to do the
yeah.
same thing. You
Same
want to
thing.
be that
Mm.
for them. And I think that most people don't want to think one that is that easy in terms of you need to be intentional and plan. But then easy doesn't mean that it's easy to execute. It's easy to
Yeah.
understand. Right? There's a difference. Right?
Difference.
Easy
Hmm.
doesn't mean that it's not actually hard to execute.
Oh my
And that
gosh.
scares some people. It actually scares other people that you can actually plan your life to that degree. You can be intentional about what you want to do. But there are people who started out as kids and say, I want to be an actor. And they became an actor.
Became an actor.
I
And
want to becomes a gymnast. Yeah.
I love how you differentiate coach versus mentor
Yeah. Yeah.
because people mix that up
Completely
a
all the
lot.
time. All the
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a quote from Leach, and obviously I quote Mike a lot, just like Warren Buffett. But one of the ones that I love about Mike, he says that if you aim at nothing, you will hit it with perfect accuracy.
Mm.
Most people aim at nothing.
Yeah.
They do that in their personal life. They aim at nothing with who they want to date. They aim at nothing when it comes to their career or their business. Aim at nothing when it comes to their life. Aim at nothing when it comes to their health.
Mm-hmm.
Aim at
Mm-hmm.
something.
Aim at
You
something.
can change what you aim at later, but aim at something and go after it. You can't score every single time you take a shot. If you have a bow and arrow shooting at that target, you don't hit the target every time.
Mhm.
The more you shoot at it, the better you get. That's the
Oh,
training. That's the
train.
practice.
Listen, even oh my god, that's so because that was so good. Like I feel like I could go deeper into that, but
Good.
when you received the SEC
Yeah,
qualification, I
right.
think you were the first US based to receive that, right? For I think CF
For a US-based company to get a SEC qualified offering for non-accredited
non-credit
investors to invest in
investors.
the Caribbean, and I've now done it twice, by the way.
What was that like? How did you feel? Like how did you celebrate? What did that mean to you in that journey and the plan that you had for your
The
life?
amount of money we had to raise and spend to get to that point, for me, obviously, crying with my wife, call my brother, who is my partner, my business at that point, in that Robert, the COO now. So I had to call him and talk about that. Call mom and dad. They put in so much to this point. And then the naysayers, it shut them up. A few
Mm-hmm.
naysayers then said, well, now you have to take it public. Right? They keep moving the goalposts. And that's when
Oh,
you know
well,
I can ignore those idiots. You're an idiot if all you can do is, well, you can't do that. And then I do it. Well, you can't do that. Well, I'll go do that too. You're not
mhm.
supported me. I don't need to hear from you. I don't need it in my life. Bye. We get to figure out who our real supporters are, who is happy for us.
For you,
And
yeah.
that's what it felt like because when the Jobs Act was passed in 2012, I got to speak a few years later on Capitol Hill during Caribbean Legislative Week that's done by the Institute of Caribbean Studies in DC. I now sit on their board. So I was asked to speak about the Jobs Act, Jumpstart or Business Act, passed by
Hmm.
Obama and Biden, and I got to explain how it works and how we could use it as Caribbean people. And then you fast forward 10, 12 years later, and I'm using the exact same act to do the thing I told people about because nobody did it. And so now instead of telling them how to do it, I actually did it. And now I get to be an actual example. Right? There's one thing
Oh,
to
yeah.
tell people how to do something and to teach them. Yeah,
Yeah.
but do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Go and do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was proof that we could execute this. The plan is
Mm-hmm.
not crazy. And if we find the right service providers, we can get this done. Now I can do it for way less. I mean, we spent over 375,000 US on legal expenses and 5 different law firms to figure out how to get to this point.
So
No, I
did
can.
you raise that capital or you have to use your own
We've all
capital?
raised that capital. So I started with 15,000 friends and family. So mom,
Mm-hmm.
dad, my brother, my money, and two friends. And that's how we started the Blue Mahoe Capital vehicle. It wasn't even Blue Mahoe Capital, it was just Blue Mahoe Partners
Yeah.
LLC in Florida. Invest that money in the Jamaican stock market and then we go from there. I started with public equities. Let me buy public equities. Let's see if this can even work. How hard is it or easy is it to open the investment account, the bank account, build a portfolio, test my thesis? So we start doing that first. Then we got the friends and family, and based on the way we designed it with the investment bank, I was going to raise 250,000 US. So when we got to raise a 250, and we did it foolishly, we did a set share price. We shouldn't have done a price round. I should have done a discount. So we did a price round. We then go and raise the 250K. 330,000 dollars tries to come in. And I said, no, I only need $250,000. And that's when people were in our friends, they're like, well, if you're turning back our money, that can't be a scam. Like, what the hell? I was like, no, there's a specific design of 15,000, 250K, then 1 million at these valuations. Because I come from the tech startup space. We work in the rounds, and I don't want to oversell at too early of a stage. So we raise at 250. And the idea is that 1/3 is going to be invested in the stock market. 1/3 is to build out the team, and 1/3 to pay the service providers, the lawyers, the accountants, to then get the filing done. Then we would go and raise the next round. So that's exactly what we did. But in the meantime, we had people running us down, hey, I still have this extra money. I want to invest in something. Can you do a property fund to invest in US real estate? You have all the contacts. So we made contacts, we evaluated some deals, and then we created a US property fund in Florida. Took in $110,000 in 7 days, and then invested. We were an LP in a cold storage deal in Miami. That deal ended up, they sold it last year, and we ended up generating. So we took in 110K, invested that, and we paid out $67,000 to our investors after the sale of the property, after giving back their 100K. So 10K paid the lawyer, 100K.
Plus the six.
So we generated, after we took our fees, we paid back out 167,000.
And this was still the model of doing funds to funds.
Well, this one was a fund of funds model. I didn't want to do it, right? I was focused on Blue Mahoe. I'm going to take money and invest in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Mainly public equities, some private equity, some private credit. That was the plan. These people now trust me because I didn't take their money. And I said, well, can you put the money to work somewhere else? Begging them, man.
Yeah.
Fine, we do intend to create an asset management business. Let me launch the first fund now. And so we quickly launched a property fund and did a fund of funds model to then go and make that first investment, because it allowed us to test out how would this work. I don't want to be distracted. We do intend to do an asset management subsidiary under Blue Mahoe. So let's start. And that's how we ended up doing those two things. Then now the investment bank is interested. We signed this deal, and we need to raise, we got to raise $1 million. So you can raise up to $1 million, give the people a discount, a 25% discount to the share price of $10. Because we knew we were listing at $10 as a direct listing price. So then we had investors to come in at $7.50 a share, right? Equity investors. These are convertible notes. And so we ended up taking 1.1 million. This time I wasn't dumb enough to not take more capital. If more capital wants to come in and we feel comfortable about how we're going to use it, we would take more. Just why not? Because COVID taught us a lesson. You cannot predict what is actually going to happen in the future. Right? So we got caught flat-footed in COVID with less runway money because the runway now needed to be longer.
Yeah. So and all of this is still from non-accredited investors.
And what?
All of this was still from...
Not all of it. No. So that wasn't Reg. This is before the first Reg CF. The Reg CF is 2 years ago. So this is before we get to the Reg CF. This is the pay to allow us to do a Reg CF, then a Reg A mini IPO. So we wanted to build credibility first. As you know, you can raise from a certain number of non-accredited Reg D private offering.
Yeah.
Market it publicly. So this is a Reg D 506B or 506C.
506B, yeah.
So we did a B.
They did a B.
We're not advertising it, but that allows us to take money from. I think it's like 45. They keep moving in the money.
They keep moving, yeah. Because now I think it's at 35 or something, yeah.
We didn't take money from 45 anyway. So we ended up raising money from 57 people. A chunk of them were accredited investors. Smallest check, $5,000. Largest check was $100,000. And then we went from there, begin the filing process, run into headaches, change a vehicle, convert the investors into this specific vehicle, get it simple. And guess what? Everybody wants real estate. They're like, we don't understand when we try to now go to the bigger market. Yeah, sound good, but I don't understand how you make money in public equity. I don't understand private equity. What the hell is private credit? Yeah. Can you just give me real estate? Right? I am targeting non-accredited investors, retail investors. They just want real estate in the Caribbean. They can see it, feel it, touch it. They can call their cousin to go and check it. And go look,
yes.
Cost deficit. They've had such bad experiences investing back home. So real estate, which I didn't want to do, ended up becoming the core pillar
The core.
Blue Mahoe Capital. And so the investment bank said, well, instead of, because I really didn't want to do that. And I said, well, you know what, instead of, clearly you're attached to this, instead of saying that you pivoted Blue Mahoe Capital to real estate, how about you just start with real estate in phase one? Dial back the other stuff you want to do. The real estate phase one, raise the money, deliver a dividend for them after going public. Then you can add your original phases next. Just phase it in. Okay. I said, well, think of it like it's a fund.
Yeah.
Engage in one fund. This is not your Berkshire you're taking public. You're taking one leg of Berkshire public. So that's why Blue Mahoe Holdings exists, and it owns all the private deals I've done.
Yeah.
So, and we had Blue Mahoe Capital Caribbean REIT. I had a Caribbean REIT set up to eventually do after Blue Mahoe Capital raised the money. So we renamed the REIT to Blue Mahoe Capital Caribbean Inc. And that is the real estate leg. And then we went and filed a Reg CF for that this year. Blue Mahoe Capital Inc., the bigger vehicle, had filed a Reg CF 2 years ago. That was the first one to get the Reg CF qualified. It can't use the money to go and buy public equities. It could do real estate stuff. But it was supposed to do other things. So we had to simplify the story. When right? So Mike Tyson would say that everybody's a plan until they get in the ring and get punched in the mouth. Well, we stepped in the ring in a big way. Bloomberg and all these things, NASDAQ, Trade Talks, TV, Schwab Talks. We got punched in the mouth when we went to the market, and the market said, we just want real estate. I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
And find real estate deals and put it under one vehicle. Have a nice, fresh, clean vehicle, only real estate, have the cheapest audit to pay for, so you can pay for that audit, and then we go from there. So that is the vehicle. Blue Mahoe Capital Caribbean Inc. is Blue Mahoe Capital now. Yeah. And Blue Mahoe Holdings does all the other stuff, and that's private.
See, but that's also you pivoting.
So I don't agree with it being a pivot. Right?
Huh?
It would mean that I do something completely different. So
or maybe diversify a little bit.
But we always were diversified. I just added it. There's another asset class, right? The core is to own a business that has an asset manager as the core. So Berkshire Hathaway has a company called, as you know, Geico, which then has a portfolio, mainly a public portfolio. So I was building Blue Mahoe Capital to be Berkshire, and then we wanted to create Blue Mahoe Investment Management as an asset manager, and then we can do some other things as well. So that was the plan. We can own some shares on the balance sheet. We can then create a REIT to give you exposure to the Caribbean. We can do a private credit vehicle, right, as a fund. That was the original plan. Own an asset manager. What Leachin said to me, Mike and I met November, this is 2023 in Miami. And he said, what is going to be your engine under your Berkshire? Don't do insurance. Insurance hasn't worked out for me as well with one of the previous companies in the Caribbean. One hurricane caused a problem.
I heard insurance is usually good because of the hurricanes.
No, but if you get hit by the hurricane, you have to pay out the insurance money.
Unless it's opposite. I know someone who hedge against hurricanes.
Oh, well, good for them. Yeah, if you are the company that provides the car insurance in Jamaica, or you provide the house insurance or the roof insurance or the car insurance, you just get a hell of a lick. Right, and imagine if you were only Jamaican Cayman, back let's say at Jamaica, Cayman, Bahamas, the last few years rough. So insurance is not always the best thing for a market like this. So he said, don't do insurance. What are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you, though. You tell me. That's why we're having a meeting. And he laughs and he says, what if Berkshire Hathaway had owned Blackstone? And I said, bingo, Blackstone before they sold their stake in BlackRock. And he said,
yes.
And then I said, okay, Mike, so do I start one or do I buy one? And he said, you follow the recipe. What did I do? And I said, you bought a tiny asset manager named AIC with only 800,000 Canadian in 1987 in Canada and then grew it to 15 billion of AUM before you sold it. And he says, exactly. So what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to buy an existing tiny asset manager somewhere and then change the funds and then scale it. So that became the plan. So we're raising the money, we're looking at the project, we're doing due diligence. So recipe, role model recipe, don't change the recipe. That was it, just stick to it. Warren Buffett bought Berkshire Hathaway. Then he bought Geico. So happens that he bought Clayton Homes, which does affordable housing in America.
Which color are you doing it for?
And
Ah,
this is a pivot if the plan was
yeah.
there already. This is what a pivot is. A pivot is designing an app, launching it, and it's called Bourbon. And the
Mm-hmm.
idea is that people take pictures when they go to the bar of the drinks and leave little reviews. And then the guy who builds it creates these filters. So when he takes his pictures, they look awesome. And the people are like, wow, not that many people using that, but we really like your pictures. And so he kills Bourbon and comes back with an app named Instagram with only the picture part with
Yeah.
pictures. And then they get bought by Facebook. That is a pivot. A
Mm-hmm.
pivot is building this thing called audio, not working, but the tool that they use to communicate with each other gets renamed and becomes Twitter.
Yeah.
That is a pivot, completely different business plan.
Right. Yeah.
Same thing happened when a guy decides I sell Flickr and I decided I am going to go and build a video game I've always wanted to build. I need an internal tool for everybody to communicate with each other. The game fails. His investors are saying, okay, you're going to just return the money or you want to do something else. I believe in you. And he says, you know what? The internal communication tool we used was really good. I'm going to try and make that into a product. Let's do a software as a service platform. And then he launches Slack, which then goes
Ah,
public.
public.
That is a pivot.
Mm-hmm.
I have not
Mm-hmm.
pivoted.
Stick to the plan.
Stick to the plan. It's just going to take a little longer.
Yeah.
And we you know, how you eat an elephant is one bite at a time.
One bite at a time. Yeah.
I was trying to swallow the whole elephant.
Ah.
I learned my
Yeah.
lesson the hard way. I had indigestion.
Ah.
Actually,
Listen,
broke my jaw trying to open it to swallow the elephant. Let's put it that way. It was that bad.
it's oh my god, like that is like so impressive because the first time I started learning about like private equity and the whole it can feel so overwhelming,
Yep.
right? What would you say to someone who's trying to get into space? You just talk about when instead of trying to take down the whole elephant, small bites. What would you say to someone who's trying to get into space and all this information and they're like, "Ugh, I can't do it."
So here's what I would say. So back in the Renaissance era, if you wanted to learn to become a master painter, a master sculptor, a master musician, you would study under
Mhm.
someone. You would apprentice. You want to become a tailor, you want to become a blacksmith, you would apprentice. You'd go
It's
and work
yeah.
with them for 2 years, 5 years. Today, if you want to become a master welder, you have to go and apprentice under someone. I would
Hmm.
say apprentice. Find someone who you look up to. Has to be someone that you admire their values, their ethics, their approach to business, and then go and work for them. It don't matter how much they're getting paid. Just say, hey, I want to work with you. I want to learn from you. Can I sit at your feet? And you do that
Hmm.
for 2 years, and you're going to learn every single thing about funds, whichever one. I worked in a PE fund, lower middle market. I worked at a hedge fund as well, so I got to see the difference. But I also got to work and did some work with Vanet Mutual Funds through an agency, and I ran their digital marketing. So that's ETFs and mutual funds. And I got to
Yeah.
show them market to those people. I worked in banking at Jamaica National. I got to see how we do it on the retail side as well, marketed to the diaspora. So I got
Hmm.
paid to learn.
Yeah.
Then I got
Wait,
that
yeah.
information after studying how did these things get done. So in private equity's case, you read King of Capital, you're going to read What It Takes, you're going to read Snowball Effect, which is Warren
I've
Buffett's
heard
story.
about that
But
one.
this
Yeah.
is from private equity. And then I would say you're going to learn why should white guys have all the fun? Reginald F. Lewis. Those four books.
Huh.
Those four
I've
books.
never heard about that one. That's
Really?
good.
The
Yeah, the last one I've never heard about it.
first black person in the US to do $1 billion transaction. Reginald F.
Oh,
Lewis, why should white guys have all the fun?
oh, I'm definitely gonna
They
check that out.
required reading when I joined my cousin's private equity firm. Richie Powell said I had to read that book and we discussed it.
Oh my. Okay, I'm definitely gonna look on that one because I've never heard about it. So I know I'm like intrigued. So I know you mentioned like you coined your term, compassionate capitalism.
Yeah.
I want to hear about that.
So to be honest, it sounds sexier than stakeholder capitalism, but that's what it is. So,
Yeah.
so what we used to have before the 1960s was stakeholder capitalism. So what mattered wasn't just the shareholders, but the
Mhm.
community. So I wouldn't dump toxic waste in the river where my factory was because I care about the people around me. They're stakeholders in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There was a change now in the 1960s, 70s, where we're now talking about the primacy of the shareholder, and it became shareholder capitalism. Our profits mean more than anything else. That's what matters more. And
Mm-hmm.
Milton Friedman is who presented that idea. And I think that's a bad approach to capitalism. It's a winner take all. I don't care if I kill my customer. I
Mm.
don't care if I poison the planet. I don't care if I poison the people around my factory. We don't care.
Yeah.
We need to go back to stakeholder capitalism. I prefer the term compassionate capitalism. The alliteration just works better.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I'm like, that was very the twist to it, and I was like, I want to hear it.
So Richard Branson talks about the three P's: people, planet,
Mhm.
and profit.
Yeah.
We want all three of them to work together.
Mm-hmm.
That is stakeholder capitalism. That is compassionate capitalism. Every dollar you deploy already has an impact. Sometimes a negative impact, sometimes a positive impact. But if you're not tracking it, you don't know. How about
You
we
know.
actually be intentional about having a positive impact when we deploy that money?
Yeah.
I think that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
What do you think because the podcast is about legacy talk? Like, what do you think people, when they hear legacy, they think about after I come out of that thing or
Yeah.
I die, right? When you hear legacy, like how do you think that is playing an impact now? And then especially when you're planning
Right.
for after, what does that legacy look like?
Right. So you have to start by deciding what you want your legacy to be. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to say, when I finally die, what are people going to say about me? Some people don't care. But
Yeah.
if you care about legacy, you're going to ask, what are people going to say about me when I finally pass? Okay, here's what I want them to say. So in my case, my life plan starts with my obituary. Here's what I want them to write about me.
Mm.
How I need to live a life that allows them to write that.
Yeah.
Right? Write the legacy first, then live the life that leads to that. Be intentional about the
Wow.
legacy you're building, how you treat people. Are you ethical or not? Do you tell lies or not? Are you supportive or not?
Mm-hmm.
Are you charitable or not? You
Or
can't
not.
wait till you die to then try and create the legacy. And that's what happened with Andrew Carnegie. He's the best example of
Ooh.
someone who didn't think about his legacy until later on. Right?
Yeah.
He goes and builds his steel empire. It gets bought. And this is JP Morgan, right? And then Andrew Carnegie is now the richest man in the world. And all his workers hate him. All these people hate him. And he's like, oh crap, I need to fix my legacy. And then he
Mm-hmm.
runs off to start naming things. Let me go and sponsor libraries and name so many libraries and a university, do the arts, right? Carnegie Hall, Carnegie
Mm-hmm.
Mellon. So he then wanted to repair his image and then fix his legacy. It was late. He did it backwards. I
Yeah.
believe that you should be intentional from now. Don't end up being like Andrew Carnegie.
Mm-hmm.
Build an intentional legacy today.
Yeah.
Live that life and leave that in people because you don't know how long you're actually going to live. You think
Ooh.
you're going to get to retire at 65 and have 30 more
Mm-hmm.
years and then pass away nicely at 95. You never know.
You
You
never know.
actually never know how long you live. So make sure the legacy for the time you've been here has been impactful and lifted others. It's not about what you accomplish for yourself. What
Ooh. It's
you've
about.
accomplished for other people. That's how you do a legacy. And as joking is, I made a comment 2 days ago. Damon John posted an interview where someone was saying to him, this big CEO reached out and said, "Man, I really wanted to help me with something." And Damon said, "No, no, I'm helping the little guy. I'm helping the little guy. You don't really need my help. That's not the person I want to help." And the guy says, pause for a minute. If you help me, my business is going to help millions of people. So your impact is going to benefit millions of little guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it dawned on him, oh, damn, I should actually be helping everyone, including the big guys, not just the little guys, because my goal is to help people.
Oh yeah.
My comment said, working with others to scale your impact is always better. Jesus only had 12 disciples, and look how that turned out. So Damon personally went and liked that one.
Nice. I love that. With so even with the whole building the legacy, I'm sure you do succession planning, right?
Yep.
How does that play a role in you even building your rock star team?
So from a succession planning standpoint, we have a Blue Mahoe culture book. So when I was at RMP Group, we would get a copy of the Zappos culture book. And that allowed them to say, here's our culture. If you don't fit in this culture, you're not going to stay or we're not even going to hire you. Here's
Yeah.
the rules for working our business. Here's how we think, our mission, vision, and values. Johnson & Johnson is a great example of of having that kind of mission. A credo is what Johnson Johnson actually calls it. So we did the same. Here's a Blue Mahoe culture book. And if you don't fit that culture, you're not going to be in here. So now people understand our framework that we use for all our decision making. So it shouldn't matter that I'm here. Warren Buffett can safely leave Berkshire Hathaway to Greg Abel because Greg understands the culture
Yeah.
of Berkshire Hathaway is bigger than him. Essentially, it's your internal Bible. So for me, that's how succession planning works. If you want to go and change it, you're not going to be here. We're
Yeah.
not changing the recipe. We're executing the recipe because we have not exceeded the role model. We need discipline in this thing. We don't need people who think they can come in and change it and do it better. No, just execute this well.
That's it. So I know we're coming close to the end of this. So I want to get a little bit on like the personal side, outside of business, outside of Blue Mahoe, and all the ventures that you're doing.
Yeah.
What fills your cup when a deal is done?
Well, so I don't do that many deals, to be honest, right? I'm not a deal person, right? We're
Or a
buying,
win?
yeah, I'm buying and hold. So what fills my cup
Yeah.
is when somebody sees me on the street and stops me or messages me and says, you said something in this interview, or you met me once, or I sent you a message and you replied, and it changed my life, or it impacted me in this positive way. That's what fills my cup. And that's why the things like this. So that is what fills my cup. I have a social battery that just keeps getting recharged.
Anyway.
I love that.
What does a regular Tuesday usually look like for David?
A regular Tuesday depends on where I am. Am I in Miami, Jamaica, Orlando, or traveling somewhere else? None of my weeks are ever the same.
Yeah.
I have a schedule of how I try to plan those weeks. It doesn't
Yeah.
work out exactly the same way. But typically it starts with opening up either the Tao Te Ching or another book that focuses on Asian philosophies. Read a quote, stop, meditate on that quote. I do a morning walk, and then I might shoot a little morning walk video to share on Instagram. I haven't done them recently, but I'll do that based on the quote that I had. Then I go eat breakfast. If I'm in Miami, I'm going to go and sit at the beach, clear my head, listen to the waves, then get my day started. And I typically will read the news in the morning, so I'll just check on some quick business news. And then I'm going to go and check my to-do list. I don't check my email. I check my to-do list. What was supposed to be done that didn't get done yesterday? Okay, let me try and knock that out quick. What's the simplest one I can get? Oh, just send this email? Send the email. Attach this document. Just get the simplest things done first. I like the snowball method. That works with paying down debt as well. Start with the easy things, so then you get in the vibe, you get in the groove, and then get in the zone.
Oh,
That's what I want to get in the zone. And then if I have an interview coming up, I need to double check there's no clash that suddenly pop up and I need to cancel or change. And then I block out the 45 minutes before that to clear my head for the interview. So I put the phone on do not disturb, go back and refresh my memory about some of the quotes I might want to use based on that. So it might be Lee Chin, Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs, my own quotes, and then get prepared for that interview so they can have all of me present. I don't like disturbances. And then after the interview, I need to go on downtime. So right now, for example, a friend of mine unfortunately had her leg amputated. She's here in Jamaica, close friend of mine, godmother to our oldest son. And so when I finish the interview, I am going to pick her up, take her to the doctor, get her wound clean, and then bring her back home and hang out with her for the afternoon.
Family, I love that.
Yeah,
So
make time for what matters and make time for who matters.
Oh, that is good, especially when you're as an entrepreneur, like.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Sometimes when I say make time for who matters, you matter number one. So make time for that downtime, guys. It's not 24/7 hustle, grind. You'll end up in the hospital like me.
I had to learn that the hard way too. So you have something called legacy round, like a quick rapid fire. The first thing that comes to your mind, what's one principle you will never compromise on in business or in life?
Do not do business with bad people. Right? There's no such thing as a good deal with a bad person.
Oh, love that. Most underrated skill or quality when it comes on to raising and deploying capital in the diaspora?
The ability to explain something clearly so that a 12-year-old can understand it.
Listen, I'm being reminded of that so much. The biggest risk that you took that actually paid off?
Oh, man. Rally driving for a year and a half in Jamaica. We won front-wheel drive class JA3 in a Toyota Starlet black top engine, and that was crazy. The youngest combined age team to ever win Rally Jamaica. So
Oh my God, love that. A mistake that cost you and the lesson it left behind.
picking the wrong board.
Mm.
Picking the wrong board. We talked about that story, and the lesson is don't be afraid to stand up for what you know is the
Mm-hmm.
correct thing to do, and then to walk away
Right.
and keep your own integrity intact.
Okay. And the last one word or phrase for what legacy are you building?
Optimism.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So
That's a pretty good one.
I consider myself an active optimist. My head of
Right.
real estate, who's a close friend, also a godfather of Luke. So Cesar Cunningham. Cesar is a musician as well. Writes music, has performed. And when Coca-Cola was sponsoring the Beijing Olympics, they had a Coca-Cola We Ate project.
Mhm.
So 8 bottles, we're going to have 8 Chinese artists, 8 musicians from around the world, and they do a custom bottle, they remix the song. So his song Keep On, his reggae song was remixed. So the only person from the Caribbean who got a custom Coca-Cola bottle on the global stage. And the local Coca-Cola never even supported him. That was crazy. So Cesar gets this bottle, and his own was active optimism. That was the theme for his bottle. And so his song Keep On is actually my alarm every single morning that wakes me up. So I'm an active
Whoa.
optimist, and I need more people in Jamaica. I need more people in the Caribbean. I need more black people. I need more of everybody to be
Mhm.
active optimists about their own life, active optimists about the country they live in, active optimists of the country that they come from.
That's good. I'm gonna have to rewatch this and re-listen this because there was so much nuggets that you dropped in here. But thank you so much for being on the show. What is the best way for persons to connect with you or even reach out to you?
Best way is davidmullings.com. And then you can
Okay.
just click the form to fill it out and send to me. Second best way is David P. Mullings on Instagram. So just
On
at David
Instagram.
P. Mullings. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, it was oh my God, it was just amazing having you here. The knowledge that you've shared, the experiences, the life lessons, and I'm sure our viewers and watchers will find this of value as well. Can't wait until the official thing comes out. But I know it's gonna be amazing. I appreciate your time. Enjoy Jamaica. I'm
Yeah,
jealous.
man. No. You were just here. No,
Right? I'm like, no, I need to come back.
come back.
I need to come back. I usually go just once a year, and then that's it.
No, man. In Florida, you can't do that. You can't do that.
So no, like enjoy it. The cool breeze. I tell people that all the time. Enjoy the
Yep.
fresh air.
And it's
Spending
mango
time with
season.
family. Listen, the amount of mangoes I've had, and I have braces, but it's
You can't help it. Brace is not
no.
here. I have 5 trees right now. I need to go pick some Bombay and Julie right now.
Listen, my mother did every morning. I was like, stop picking all the mangoes. She's like, I'm gonna give them away, or you eat them. I was like, we have too much.
Hmm. Too much. I gave
Oh,
away
listen.
9 2 days ago, and I'm gonna give away another 10. It's
And then-
crazy. Crazy.
Listen, but no, enjoy it, and I hope you have the fantastic day. Thank you so much for being
Thank
on the
you
show.
so much as well.
Yes, bye.
Bye.